welcome. I would like to welcome all of you to today's UW System Career Trek. This is a collaborative effort between all 13 campuses of the UW system. My name is Sue Kissinger, and I'm one of the career development coordinators. And I am here with my partner in crime, Brianna Burke, who they'll be handling the technology for the trek and monitoring the chat and letting people in the waiting room. So Brianna, she's awesome. They will handle all the chat stuff that's going on and everything for our trek. So again, this is a collaborative effort for the UW system. We started this initiative over 2 years ago when the pandemic hit, and we realized we couldn't bring students to employers. It's harder to bring employers to campus, but we wanted students to know about different employers in the area. What was really great, though, is when we started talking to other campuses, we thought we can let our students here at UWSP know about employers down in Milwaukee and up in Superior and all around the state. So the treks have been created to allow you to know about employers throughout the state of Wisconsin and give you a much broader reach and a broader range. So last year we hosted over 20 treks, and all of those treks are available for recording on the treks website. You're all going to be given the link. You need to please fill out the required registration form, please. It's going to be put into the chat, so please make sure you fill that out. And you can find past recordings of the treks on the UW System Career Treks website. You can look at the treks that are coming up and register for future treks. And you can also click on the past treks and find out what's coming up in the or past treks to look at the employers that have been hosted in the past. This initiative is supported by the UW System President, Tommy Thompson. And moving forward, we've decided we're going to keep these going into the future. So we're really excited to continue to host some folks next semester. Next week's trek will be on February 23rd at noon, and it's going to be Kellogg Peak Initiative, which will be hosted by UW-Madison. The next thing we're going to be doing is a live polling question that Brianna will be, right there's the poll that's in the question. Please answer the question so we kind of know who you are and where you're from. Please check the school that you're from, and also then who you are, who are represented here. It's just a quick 2-question poll. It's going to help our employers know who they're speaking to, and so they can help direct their questions and answers. So we've got a nice size group here today. If everybody would please answer the quick 2-question poll, that would be great. And while the poll is being answered by the participants, I do want to let you know that today we're really fortunate to have Sentry here. I've been here at UW-Stevens Point for 30 years and was a student here prior to that. And Sentry has just been always not only this looming feature in the Stevens Point area because of the big building on the north end of town, but just because of their presence both in the community of Stevens Point and in central Wisconsin, but also the support they provide for our campus. Sentry's been around for well over 100 years and has just been this pillar of our community. And we're really, really excited that they're going to share some information about wonderful careers that they have and opportunities for both students and for full-time positions afterwards. So we have Hannah, Jeremy, and Dan here today, and they're going to be able to share some information for us. So there we are, looking at who's here all today. And I think now we're ready to turn the program over. Brianna, anything else?
Nope. Thanks everybody for being here. The form is dropped into the chat. I'll drop it in a couple more times throughout the presentation today, but you need to fill that out so that we know you're here. And especially for those from UWSP here for Provence credit, it is required in order to receive credit, okay?
Yep. So we're going to turn the program over to Jeremy, Hannah, and Dan, and we thank you all for your participation today. Questions, We'll be having plenty of time at the end of the presentation for questions. If your questions come up during the presentation, just type them into the chat and I'll sort of facilitate the Q&A at the end. Okay, so sit back, relax, and enjoy a presentation by our friends from Sentry. Thank you so much.
What a great introduction here. All right. It's okay. So it's telling me, can I share? There we are. Okay. And then I think we are all set. All right. Brianna, am I showing the right screen? This is my big goodness.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, good. That was my big concern, like during the test run, that I was going to show my other screens. So we're doing good. All right, so we're super excited to be talking to you all today about who Sentry is and really what we have to offer you. I do have two speakers with me. So we have Dan from the claims area and then Jeremy from the IT area, and they'll both kind of give more information so you don't have to hear me talk the entire time about their specific areas and career paths and all that fun stuff. So I'm Hannah. I'm the college recruitment and program specialist at Sentry. So I oversee everything campus related from a recruitment. So these types of things, which I love doing. I love talking with students, as well as our internship program, everything from the recruitment to the execution of the program, our co-op programs, and all that really fun stuff. So my job is pretty fun, not gonna lie. And so I'll just be kind of going over and leading the way, and then we'll kind of jump in from there. All right, so let's talk. I'm really happy Sue mentioned ask questions throughout the presentation. That is a huge part of who Sentry is really having that communication and collaboration. So really want to make sure we answer any questions you have so you walk away from this presentation really feeling like you got out of it what you're needing to. So I'm going to go over some basic information about Sentry, the high level stuff, a little bit more information about our culture and who we are and our organizations that we have. I will be kicking it then over to the career paths where I'm going to have Jeremy and Dan talk a little bit more about their specific areas and give you some more insight. And then we'll wrap it up with what our programs are. So some current programs that we have for college students and ways you can get involved right away. But I see we have some seniors as well. So we definitely have full-time opportunities too. So all ways that you can get within Sentry. All right, let's give you some of that background. Who is Sentry? We're a mutual insurance company. So pretty much just saying that, you know, we're owned by our policyholders. As Sue said, we've been around for a long time. We've been around since 1904. We got our start in Berlin, Wisconsin, and we're currently headquartered in Stevens Point. What is that really for information for you? So since being around for so long, we're a super stable company. We have been able to evolve with the times and change and continue to grow. Even with this crazy economy that we're in, Sentry has been able to withstand and continues to develop and grow and evolve. So it's a really cool company to be with in way of how long we've been around and been able to do that. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of those things too as we move on. Headquartered in Stevens Point, I see most of you are from the Stout or Stevens Point area. If you're not familiar with where we are, just in case, we are in the middle of the state as our headquarters, but we have offices throughout the country. We have over 15 field offices. So everywhere from Irvine, California, Scottsdale, Arizona, over to Goldsboro, North Carolina, and even Davenport, Iowa. So we are everywhere. We have about 4,400 associates, with about half of those in the Stevens Point area. So if you're from the area or have ever been through Stevens Point, we have a couple very large buildings right there alongside the highway that you would see, and you could see why we have so many by our headquarters. We are recognized by Forbes. We're very proud of that by being a top mid-sized employer. That is something that, like I said, we're very, very proud of, and we take that very seriously, and we want to remain that. We have very strong connections to the PGA. So if any of you are golfers, not me necessarily, not very good, but if you like golf and have watched golf, we do have the Sentry Tournament of Champions. And that happens in January. So it's pretty much any of the winners throughout the entire year are welcome to that. So we have very strong ties to golf, and a lot of that also stems from our Sentry World, which is across the street from our headquarters, where we have our golf course, which is consistently ranked in the top 100 places to golf in the US. So that's really, really cool. And we have a lot of pride in that. And we're also going to be hosting the 2023 Senior Open. So that is really cool. That's going to be a big tournament that's coming around. If you're looking for volunteer opportunities, they are currently posted. Through all of this, I mentioned we've been around since 1904, and we have continued growth, which is, I think, one of the coolest things. We love the fact that we are able to continuously grow. We have the new building, which unfortunately we opened up right before COVID. So we didn't get to enjoy it for that long before we've all been working remote. About 95% of us are working remote right now. So we are looking forward to getting back into the office. But we have that. We just built the Inn, which is across the street, connected to Sentry World, which is our hotel. We've grown in our regional offices. We're growing. So there's a lot of opportunities for our talent, our associates to grow as well. And we encourage that. Finally, our community outreach. So because we're an employer, a top employer in the area, we place a big emphasis on our communities. And we recognize that our associates place a big emphasis on wanting to help out our communities. So that is something that we're proud of. So we regularly have our United Way campaign, which raises over $1 million to local United Way. And when we are in person, it's fun virtually, but in person, it's really cool. It's like a festival. If you think of a festival, there's like games like ring toss and stuff, but then there's also like a bunch of food. It's a really fun time. And all the proceeds go to United Way. So it's a cool time for the company to get together and be together on something and give back. On top of that, we also have our Sentry Foundation, which gives about $4 million annually to arts, education, and just various ways that we can give back to our communities. So we place a big emphasis and a big part of that on our community, which we are, like I said, are very, very proud of. Okay, so culture. A big reason we've been able to be around since 1904 is because of the way we are able to evolve, and we listen to our associates and are able to grow with them. So because of that, we have very strong culture here at Sentry. So we offer this hybrid working model, which is what we're going to be going back into. So right now, like I said, about 95% of us are working remote. We are fully intending to go back into the office, but we have recognized that there's been some, positive feedback from that, having that flexibility. So we're going to be going to a hybrid model where Mondays and Fridays, our associates have the option, if they would like, to work from home. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will be in office. So as a company, we, as much as we like that flexibility, we also really put an emphasis and recognize the importance of creating those connections and being together and having that time together. And what comes with that is that creativity and connection and growth. So this hybrid model is a really great way to bring both of those together and kind of the best of both worlds. So we are looking forward to that, and we are looking forward to being back in office one day. I'm sure you've all heard competitive compensation, competitive PTO, but these are things we constantly evaluate at the company, and we're constantly looking at how we can better all those resources for our associates. The next one, for opportunity to unleash your talents, I would say that is one that really intrigued me most about when I joined Sentry, is that opportunity to grow and develop, and that you get to own your development. We have Sentry U, which is our Sentry University training and development area. So anything from a personal to professional growth opportunities and trainings, they offer so many different opportunities for us and encourage us to take those. And I think that is just so awesome that they want us to have those opportunities for growth. There's also the opportunity to add value to the organization. So one of the cool things about being a mid-sized employer is that there are a lot of opportunities for you to grow your career or different career paths or switch it up. But you can also see it's small enough that you can also see your impact every single day. You can see the value you add, what your job does, what is the greater value to that organization. And I think that was the second thing that really attracted me to Sentry, and getting to see those things. Obviously, there's the golf course, there's the restaurant. We also have Muse Restaurant, and then we have other amenities. So when we are back in person, another reason we're looking forward to it is because we do have free workout facility. We have a pool. We have an auto center. We have so many different things. We have a bank. We have a hair salon. So there are a lot of different amenities that come with working at our home office or in our Stevens Point location and in our field offices as well. So it's a pretty cool place to work. All right. High level. What are our business units? When I say high level, it's because there are a lot of them, and I don't want to take up the whole time by trying to explain all of these, but they're just really trying to highlight that there are so many different organizations that you can go into with working at Sentry, and that you're not just siloed. There's an opportunity to kind of cross paths and do different opportunities within Sentry. So overall, we just offer insurance products in specific industries, everything from national accounts to, which is, those really large employers, thousands of associates, to Dairyland, which is non-standard auto and motorcycle. So we have all sorts of opportunities that we specialize in. And then we have hospitality, as I mentioned as well, which is really we just created the inn and we have the golf course. So as you can see, we've kind of got our hands in a lot of things. But at the end, if you have additional questions about any of these, I'd be happy to come back to this and talk to you about it. Okay, so what do we value? You've probably already heard a little bit as I was talking about it, but what we're really looking for are people that are going to come in, ask questions, wanting to learn, have that desire to learn, flexible, wanting to collaborate, wanting to work together, and wanting to offer ideas. We'll take all sorts of backgrounds, we'll take all sorts of majors, but you can't train those key characteristics. So really that's what we're looking for. And once you're with us, then we can train from there. We can add those skill sets, but really looking just to get new talent with those kinds of characteristics that can add value to the company. We want all different kinds of backgrounds because that's how you remain successful. That's how you get new ideas. If we were all the same, one, we would have no IT because I know nothing about IT, but if we were all the same, the company wouldn't be able to continue to grow and evolve. So we do look for people with all different backgrounds to bring in new perspectives to the company and bring new ideas, so we can continue to grow and not remain stagnant as a company. Another reason why we've been able to be around for as long as we have. Here's all of our career paths, and it's not even all. This is just high level. All these career paths and more bring in all different kinds of backgrounds, like I said. So if you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I'm in psychology, or I've got a minor in psychology, I'm not really sure how that would pertain. We have psychology students in the claims area. We have psychology. I'm a psych minor, so human resources. I actually graduated from UWSP and now is working at Sentry. So there's all kinds of backgrounds that we take and all different types of career paths. And that's kind of what we're going to go into here, highlighting two specific ones, the IT career path and then also claims. So we're going to go a little bit more in depth and talk to some of our centers of excellence that way and some of our experts in those areas. So I'm going to, but if you have questions about any of these, we can talk. I'm going to kick it over to Jeremy to talk about the IT side.
Sure. So my name is Jeremy Clayton. I'm an IT director with responsibility for claims IT. So it's great that I get to see Dan again. My IT group works with his. From a background perspective, I've been with the company about 22 years. I was born and raised in Stevens Point. I attended UWSP, graduated with, at the time, it was a computer information systems degree. Thank you. And, Sentry was obviously well established in the community, a lot of very tenured family kind of, generations of associates there. And they started an internship program, which very much closely resembles what our co-op is now. Most internships, 3 months, and then you're done. Mine just kind of lasted until I graduated, which was about 2 years. What Hannah said from a skills to be successful is still abundantly true. I remember when I interviewed for the internship position, I never had any sort of software engineering background until I got to college. And I had 1 semester of C++ programming. And in my interview, I asked, well, what languages do you use? And 22 years ago, it was COBOL and assembler and very heavy mainframe. And I thought, fantastic. I have one semester in a language you don't even use. I'm a shoo-in for this job. Nevertheless, they hired me, and I went through a number of training courses. I cut my teeth on programs that were written before I was born at the time because it was so mainframe heavy based. And then we got a new CIO, and he drove an awful lot of transformational effort at the company. When it's all said and done, Sentry will have spent over $700 million modernizing its IT infrastructure and architecture to the point that we will be shutting down our mainframe this year and have 38% of our new operations and distributed platforms operating in the cloud. So through that experience, I was on one of the first major system replacement initiatives for our claim systems. Started as an individual contributor as a software engineer, and then that turned into a team lead position, became a technical lead on one of those initiatives, and then ultimately went into management, managing, for better or for worse, some of the systems that I helped create. Ultimately, that culminated in the director position that I currently have, and now I have responsibility for the IT systems that support all of our personal and commercial lines claims operations. In addition to that, Hannah kind of mentioned our co-op facility as well as the internship. I have responsibility for our Stevens Point co-op, which includes IT, software engineering, and information security, security operations center items as well. And then also just kind of help Hannah out with situations like this and recruiting. So at a high level, we've got application development. That includes software engineers, software developers, test engineers, software product analysts, or more commonly known in the industry as business analysts. We have software quality analysts, application services, which is very much a lot of that cloud backend server technology stack. Data services, we have an awful lot of data being an insurance carrier. And so they get to help organize it, sort it. We have our own internal data lake, our own dedicated advanced analytics group that works very closely with the UWSP and the data science program. Information security, as I already mentioned, product analysts, and then we have our system engineers that kind of keep all of the connectivity that we need to have in place. Are there any questions on that? Any areas that you want me to dive into a little bit more specifically, Hannah, at all? Or
Nope, that is good. But
we do have a question in the chat. Yeah. It says, does this company sponsor international students with OPT?
For full-time opportunities, that is something we'll consider. For internship and co-op, it is not something that we do at this time. Good question.
Thanks, Hannah.
I guess I can comment on some of the skills to be successful in the advice a little bit more, but
maybe if you would like.
Sure. Hannah did a good job of summarizing a lot of the skills that we look for. I still remain true to what I look for in new associates as, for the co-op, for internship and full-time opportunities. And it really kind of boils down to desire to learn, the ability to learn, and a positive attitude. Because there's no one curriculum, no one school that teaches Sentry. Sentry U is different, but if you possess those things, we're going to train you. I mean, this is not pop you in the chair, hope you go. No, we very much invest in our associates. And that's part of the reason why we have a Sentry U. And even before we had one, we would still invest in associates with training opportunities and advancement. And I've got individuals from my organization that have been sourced from Dan's group and claims. So when Hannah talked about kind of that crossover ability, yeah, that happens. I have folks from my group that have gone to other areas of IT, gone into management of other areas, or even gone back to claims in some respects too. And so we try to find the best fit for the associate, and ideally it's a position at Sentry. But if it's not, then I just wish them well in wherever they go. So I have found, honestly, when I started at Sentry, I had no intention of staying there. I thought, woo, wow, insurance. Yay, that's the only thing you say you work in at parties to avoid conversation. But it's the people that make the difference. And there's a reason I've been at the company for 22 years. And when I talked about it being a generational company, it really is. You see it in some of the associate directory. You hear it as you interact with the associates. And I think that's, to me, I mean, the work is the work and it's valuable work. It's fun to do, but it's more fun to engage with the people that are around you. And we've got a fantastic group of individuals that we've assembled over the years that I've worked there. And I think the tenure kind of speaks for itself. You don't stay 22 years at a job that you hate. You stay there because you love it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to kick it over to Dan to talk a little bit more about claims.
All right. Thank you, Hannah. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. So I actually have a little bit of similar background as Jeremy. I actually grew up in central Wisconsin as well. But I grew up in a little town just north of Stevens Point called Mosinee. So south of Wausau, north of Point, right in between. I have also been at Sentry for 22 years. I took a little bit more of a non-traditional approach to my career path in schooling. When I graduated high school, I actually went to North Central Technical College and obtained my associate's degree in criminal justice, went through the Law Enforcement Academy. And then right after I graduated that, I kind of reevaluated what I want to do and said I probably need to go back and get a 4-year degree right away, or I may never do it once I get into the workforce at that time. So I decided I need to go back to school to obtain my bachelor's degree. I did that, but while doing so, I also needed to work. So I applied at this place called Sentry. I'll be honest, I knew nothing about Sentry at that time. I knew nothing about insurance at that time. And my schooling wasn't geared towards that, but it was like I thought it would be a good fit and job for me. So I applied and I was hired on as a very entry-level first notice of loss tech. So in that department, we enter all of our first notice of loss reports of the incoming claims. So that was our personal auto, commercial auto, general liability products, all of those things. And I was going to school part-time during that whole time. And while I was in the first notice of loss department, I graduated with my bachelor's in public administration from Upper Iowa University. And after that, I started to, seek out other opportunities at Sentry and still within claims. So in first notice loss, it is within our claims department. I have held a variety of roles in claims. From first notice of loss, I went to be a claims representative. So those are the individuals that actually handle the incoming claims. At that time, I handled motorcycle, auto, homeowners, property liability, general liability, slip and falls at your house fires, hail damaged roofs. I climbed up on roofs. We had a pretty big homeowners group of policies back then. So anytime hail ran through the Appleton or Green Bay area, we got sent out there to field duty. From that, I went back to the call center, was a supervisor. Then I took another different approach, went to business analyst in our corporate claims projects areas. So in there, it was a group of individuals that worked with IT and worked with the claims business areas as kind of a liaison at the time. So implementing systems, company acquisitions. When we acquired Viking Insurance back in 2006, I was part of that project, working with getting all their systems online and migrating them to our systems, things like that. So very familiar with IT. As Jeremy said, we work very closely together on a lot of different projects all the time. From there, I actually took another path. I have relocated with Sentry 3 times throughout my career. As Jeremy alluded to and Hannah alluded to, there are a ton of opportunities within Sentry. I happen to take all of the opportunities that were there in claims. So I've been in claims in one way, shape, or form all 22 years. I'm just one of those people that love claims, love what I do. So I actually relocated to our Goldsboro, North Carolina office. Worked there for several years as the call center director for our first notice of loss department. Relocated from there to Davenport. There I kept first notice of loss and then also was over our subrogation department that was housed in Davenport and Stevens Point at the time. And then from there, I moved back to Stevens Point, stayed in Stevens Point for a few more years, then moved out to, we used to have an office in Salem, Oregon. I moved out there for an associate director of claims opportunity, stayed out there for a couple of years, and then moved back to Stevens Point again to accept the role that I'm currently in, which I oversee our rapid resolution and claims operations departments in our personal lines area. And I've been doing that since around 2015. So that is one of the things that I loved about my career with Sentry is I was able to move and see all of these different places and live in these different areas of the country that were great. I wouldn't change that, for anything. It was probably one of the best times in my career, moving to all those different places. And again, I was able to move for those opportunities. There are a ton of opportunities within Stevens Point as well. But don't count out if you're ever willing to relocate. There are opportunities within our field offices to grow as well, as Hannah mentioned, where those locations are. Why I've stayed with Sentry for 20 years is very similar to Jeremy. The culture, the team collaborative atmosphere. Sentry really cares about their customers, but they also really care about their associates and the people that work for Sentry. They take very, very good care of you. There's a ton of development opportunities with, you can see with the career paths that we've taken throughout our history at Sentry and the certification programs that we offer. So there's continuous learning opportunities. In claims, we're always learning, always evolving. So some of the skills that we definitely have to possess when you work in claims are being customer focused, a passion for helping others. That's all we do in claims is work with customers, both internal and external. And you've got to have that passion with working with people through very difficult times in claims. They range from very, very easy claims to very, very complex claims. And we have a personal lines claims area. We also have our commercial lines claims area, which houses our workers' compensation, commercial auto, transportation for semi-truck drivers and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities within claims. You have to have patience, be flexible and highly adaptable. I think as Jeremy understands, we have gone through a lot of change in the claims department over the years, a lot of great change. So you have to be able to be patient, be flexible and highly adaptable to that change. But it's always been good. It's always to better ourselves. And that's what we're always looking to do at Sentry and in claims. And a couple other things, being organized, some pretty good time management skills, which typically you learn a lot of those in college because you're juggling multiple things while you're in school. And critical thinking is probably one of the last things that I definitely recommend from a claims standpoint. Roles within the claims department, we've got from very, very entry levels to claims techs, first notice of loss techs, medical bill reviewers, up into our more technical roles of claims representatives. We have a lot of roles and a lot of growth within the claim representative roles. So again, you handle the very, very least complex claims to the most complex that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars in some instances. We have claims management roles. There's a lot of opportunities as you work through your career, and corporate claims and claims projects as well, working with our wonderful IT partners that we do so often throughout our history. Couple final things. Claims provides you the opportunity to, just like IT does, to touch multiple areas within insurance. You touch underwriting, you touch the claims, you touch IT projects, actuary, analytics, human resources, talent acquisition. So as you work your way up through the different roles and development opportunities, you touch every area within the insurance industry in some way, shape, or form. So as Jeremy said, we encourage people. We love people that want to grow within claims, but we also support their development outside of claims because we do touch so many areas. So people who start within our department may go to underwriting, they may go to IT, they may go to even finance or analytics. So there's just a variety of things that a career in claims can prepare you for. And again, majors, they're all sorts. Nobody usually goes to school to be in claims. That's typically not what they're going to school for. So we take a variety of majors: psychology, criminal justice, business, you name it, we've got it in our department from a claims perspective as well. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of growth. And, certainly if there's any questions, you can reach out to me or Hannah and we can walk you through those. I thought I saw one question in the chat, but I didn't quite see what it was.
Yep. So it's asking, oh, go ahead, Sue.
The question was, and I don't understand it, but I think you probably will, Dan.
Sure.
It says, what is the structure of the claims department? Is there a divide between WC and PNC, and within PNC claims team at Sentry? So I'm thinking Jeremiah has got some knowledge of claims here.
Yep. And I'm thinking so too. So yes, there is some separate structures in claims. We have our personal lines non-standard auto area. That's the group that that I work in, that rolls up to an assistant vice president. And we handle our more specialty and high risk auto insureds. That's the niche for that group. Then we do have our workers' compensation area. That's our national accounts, standard business products, direct writer type business, where there are businesses who have workers' compensation insurance and they handle those claims. That rolls up to a separate assistant vice president. We also have our commercial auto liability products and general liability department. So that would be consider our trucking division of transportation and other commercial autos for national accounts. Again, national accounts, standard, direct writer, those types of operations. That is also under a separate assistant vice president, but they do all roll up to one chief claims officer. That's our chief claims officer, Michelle Dufresne. So we have separate structures for each, what we call business niche, personal lines, commercial lines, that type of stuff, but they do all roll up to one person at the top. And again, we do have crossover between those areas. So some individuals may want to start in one area and they migrate to another area for an opportunity as well. So I hope that answers your question well enough, but let me know if you need a little bit more detail.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
You made claims sound really exciting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's because it is really exciting.
That's
It
right.
is.
Insurance is exciting.
It is. Claims is the backbone of an insurance company. That's how I describe it. It's so
It
true,
is.
though. Without claims, how would we have an insurance company? It's the same.
That's true. That's true.
Anyways,
There was
all right.
one more question,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, and I'm going to probably direct that to Jeremy because I think
Yeah.
he'd be better to hit that.
Yeah. So from a
I'm
claims,
going to just quick
go ahead.
read the question out loud for those that don't have the chat up. So it says, do you use the same system through each niche?
yes, for the most part, we have a, if you're looking at like a human resources system, which currently getting replaced as we speak right now, but yeah, that is the human resources system for all associates at the company. If you look more specifically at claims, there is some segmentation, but we're kind of combining the experience. So what I mean by that is when we first implemented the legacy replacement initiative, we introduced a commercial lines claims handling system and then a separate personal lines claims system. We also had two separate first notice of loss systems, and we're in the process of combining those two experiences into essentially a single application. And part of the reason for that, as Dan has indicated, there is some cross over that happens within the claims organizations. They are under the same chief claims officer. And in order to take advantage of that cross knowledge, that cross skills and economies of scale, we find that having as minimal differences between the business niches, if you will, or segments, is advantageous.
All right. Okay. Moving forward. Maybe there we go. Okay, so let's talk about, as a student, how you can get involved into Sentry. So first and foremost is our internship program. Please keep in mind, I am a little biased about this program because I do run it. But to me, it's really, really cool. It's a really cool program that we're really trying to give a well-rounded experience where you get plenty of hands-on experience within the role that you're interning in, but then opportunities for your own personal and professional development as well as getting involved in the community, getting involved at Sentry, and just overall getting exposure to the company. So like I said, I'm biased, but it is super cool. We treat our interns really, really well because we want to keep you. Our goal with the internship program is to hire you full-time. Like that is the overarching goal. It's so we're going to make sure you're not just going and getting coffee. You're going to be doing the job, but also getting to see Sentry overall. So you get all the benefits of being an associate, a full-time associate with us. because you are. It's not like you walk around with intern written on your forehead. You are an associate. But then you also have the benefit of you get additional exposure to our CEO. You actually get to hear directly from him. You get to meet with all of our executives. We have different networking events. You get treated to going out in the community. So we've done boat tours on Chain of Lakes in Wapaka. We've done brewery tours in the area. We've gone to baseball games, just all kinds of things to get you connected with the other interns as well as in the community. This year, we are looking for 50 total interns. It's our largest intern group to date. To the right there, you can kind of see some of those areas. We are going to be posting actually 2 positions in human resources, which we're really excited about. So those ones will be opening here soon. We also have some information technology still available. We have underwriting still available. So if you are interested in an internship with us, I encourage you to go out there and take a look at some of our opportunities that we have available. This year, we are hoping the program will be in person, fingers crossed, knock on wood. If we do, we'll follow that hybrid model and we'll go through it that way, but we do have the option to shift and adjust if we have to go into a virtual career, a virtual environment, which we did last year. So it's high level internship. I could talk about internship all day. I'm a little passionate about it. We also have our co-op programs. So this is more of an experience specifically for our IT and IS folks. So this is different from the internship in that it is part-time during the school year, full-time on breaks, with the opportunity to go year over year, while our internship is for a designated time frame of May to August. But they both have the same goal of hiring full-time. So this is our goal of these programs as well. We are specifically partnered with UWSP, UW-Madison, and then have recently expanded out to Edgewood College in Madison and UW-Stout, as well as Michigan Tech. So again, very hands-on experience, lots of real projects. You're getting real projects that we are working on with that goal of hiring you full-time at the end of the program. All right. So just a couple other things that we have going on that you can look at. We have our data analytics program, specifically partnered with UWSP. We have various part-time positions, some of the positions that Dan mentioned in claims, like claims techs and things like that. We do have some that are part-time that are also available to students. And then we have our Century World opportunities. So we have the hotel opening up, we have PJs, we have banquets, and we also, if you're interested in volunteering for that PGA tournament, that is also out there. So lots of different ways to become part of Century and join us here. Lots of opportunities. All right. And then finally, if you have any questions about our recruitment process, it's ever changing. So right now, really all it is that you just find the position and you submit your application through our jobs website. Most of them are also posted on Handshake, but we do ask that you apply through our external site. So we have all your information on our file. And then you just go through the basic interview process, which is typically 1 interview, maybe 2, and then we will go ahead and you should have your response after that. All that being said, lots of information we went over. Definitely want to have time if you guys have any further questions, if there's anything else we can help you out with.
Does anybody have any questions? Let's get those in the chat right away, please. Hannah, what's the time frame? Is there still a lot of openings left for this coming summer?
I wouldn't say a lot. There are a handful of openings still available. Time frame is really that we would be looking to have those wrapped up by end of March, just for a timing perspective. But we close the positions as soon as we have the correct like a good applicant pool for us. So if you do see one out there, I would recommend just applying as soon as that interest comes available to you.
So the question in the chat right now is, when is the earliest you can apply for next summer? It's like now, right?
Now. Yeah. So for this upcoming summer, you can apply for the positions that start in May. Our typical recruitment process, we do post the positions typically in September for that following summer. So we're continuously adding more and more positions. So that's why we still have some available. Majority of the time, we have most of them filled actually for that following summer by January. But like I said, we're adding more. So that's why we have some positions still available to you guys. I always recommend to students, a lot of employers start recruiting already in September, to just go out there and set up like job alerts for yourself for employers that you're interested in. So you get an email, because in September, you guys are so busy getting back into the swing of school and moving and all of those things. So it's just one less thing to have to remember. You'll just get an email reminding you and you'll be like, oh yeah, I should probably look at that. So just something to think about if you're, not interested in this summer and maybe next summer, that would definitely be something I would encourage you to do.
Good advice. Jeremy, did you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, from a full-time standpoint, there is an abundance of positions that'll be available now and kind of throughout the calendar year. So the alert that Hannah just mentioned, that's a great way to stay informed on opportunities.
Great. Dan, anything to add too?
No, I would echo what Jeremy indicates, especially in the claims area and other areas, we have a lot of opportunities always available. As Hannah said, we're always adding positions due to great business growth, which is a good thing. So, definitely keep an eye out, because even though you may be close to graduating in May, you could start looking and applying now. And completing the interview and those process. So potentially have a job lined up at, the time of your graduation.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Go ahead, Brianna.
We do have another one in the chat. What suggestions would you give to students who want to enter Sentry, who want to start with Sentry?
I would say suggestions as in the application process. I mean, to me, I would say like, if you are interested in a role, just never self-select out of that position. Even if you're thinking that your background doesn't fully align, especially if you're looking at internships, give us the opportunity to look at your resume and give us the opportunity to talk with you about opportunities. We want to connect, and we, like Jeremy was talking about, finding the right position within Sentry. We're all about that. So even if you're not a fit for that role that you specifically applied for, we might think of a different position that would be a good fit for you. So I guess to me, my recommendation is, if you're interested in Sentry, just, apply and ask questions and reach out to us. We're here to help. I don't know if Jeremy or Dan have anything else to add to that.
I agree with you. I mean, you don't know until you try. So, we've actually, it's one thing that's kind of curious to me is we've talked with students that ultimately join us, and I kind of ask them, well, what, we saw you last year, you came to like an open house or an event. Why didn't you apply? And they're like, I didn't think I was ready yet. Like, well, how about we decide that, not you, So go ahead and apply. And then there was one where I had that same type of pitch, and the individual applied, and I was like, thank you. I mean, and he's in. I just talked with him yesterday. He's doing fantastic. He initially didn't think that he was qualified for it, but boy, was he ever. I mean, he's knocking our socks off right now. So yeah, I mean, if you don't know, try. What's the worst that could happen?
And our talent acquisition and managers who are reviewing these resumes really do a good job of reaching out to the other areas if we think they might, be a good fit. They may not be a fit for our position or this position, but a lot of sharing of resumes and application data is done through the departments, to our talent acquisition team and managers. If I see somebody that has a lot of IT background, a lot of we would share that with IT as well, because we want to make sure we're fitting them with the best position, that they'd be interested in too.
So a good step would be for them to reach out to their career development coordinator and have a really professional looking resume and then apply,
Yes.
Correct? Just
Absolutely.
shameless plug for the work we do in our office.
Use your resources, guys, for
That's
sure.
right. We're here for you. We are. So, okay. Any last minute questions? Just to clarify, you're all working remotely right now. You said the majority, 95% are working remotely. Do you know anything moving forward? Still kind of up in the air?
Yeah, they're continuously evaluating the situation, with really hoping to be back in office. We don't have a designated date. We've had a couple dates provided to us, and this last one was like, like Pete was just, our CEO was just kind of like, I'm not going to try to guess again, guys. Like we're just gonna.
I've been wrong before. I'm not
I've
picking
been-
another one.
Yeah. All right.
We're good. But they are going to give us a 4-week notice as individuals as they're moving us back in. So as they start moving us into the office in waves, they're going to give us a 4-week notice so we can kind of get our ducks in a row before we get back into the office. So we will be given ample amount of time to prepare once that happens.
Nice. That's really nice. So. Okay, well, I'm going to be respectful of everybody's time in case folks have a 1 o'clock class. So I would like to say we thank everybody for coming today. Thanks to Hannah and Jeremy and Dan for a great, informative, energetic, just wonderful presentation. I learned a lot and I'm really glad you're here. Remember, this UW System Career Trek is collaborative between our 13 campuses. And next week, it's going to be the Kellogg Peak Initiative hosted by UW-Madison. And if you want to watch any of those recordings, just go to the Career Trek website. You can access that off our events page or your career services website. So thank you so much, everybody. And you be well and take care and have a great rest of your semester.
Thank you. And I did put my
All right.
email in the chat. So if you guys have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help out with anything I can. So.
And we will actually be hosting Sentry in 2 weeks at our career and internship fair on March 2nd
right.
in the Laird
Good
room.
plug.
So
Yes.
if you have more questions for Sentry for our UWSP students, you'll get another opportunity in just 2 weeks time.
Good point, Brianna.
To corner Hannah at our career fair. So
All righty.
All
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Yep. Bye-bye.